So, welcome to ABC's Weddings Unveiled podcast, the podcast where we go beyond the pretty pictures and dive into real stories, strategies, secrets, all behind successful weddings and thriving wedding businesses. I am Veronica Foster, president of the Association of Bridal Consultants. And every 2 weeks, we're bringing you insight, inspiration, and industry experience to help you grow and elevate your career in the wedding world. So today I have two really great guests, which I'm excited because we doubled, our guest count for today with Event Helper. And I am going to let them introduce themselves.
Well, hi. Thank you, Veronica. Thanks for having us. Miles and I make up the venue partner program here at Event Helper. And yeah, we've been in business for 16 years. And the good news is all we sell is event insurance. So we're hyper focused on just that section. And yeah, we sell event insurance. Really, it's just we're selling policies to event hosts to help protect them in the event of general liability damage or bodily injury.
Yep. And I'm Miles, the other half. I've been here for about 5 years with the event helper, working with planners to help their couples, venues to help their couples. Basically, any level where there's any kind of partnership, that's what Natalie and I do. Natalie's been with us about 6 months now, I think. So yeah, just kind of getting rolling here and getting geared up for summertime and busy season and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I'm going to ask what may be a stupid question, but I'm sure a lot of people don't fully understand, or there may be people that don't fully understand. What exactly is event insurance?
We insure either the wedding couple or the event host, whatever kind of event they're having, or vendors operating at the event or the event planner. But basically, what we're doing is the venue is going to require that they have liability insurance for their event. And that's offering the insured, whether it's the host or the vendor, it's offering them protection if they cause an injury to a guest during the event or if they cause property damage to the venue during the event. So, kind of basic. It's really just two things, injury and property damage, but it's very important, because there's a lot of risk and responsibility that, vendors or event hosts take on when they're operating or having an event.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure now, especially like with hanging centerpieces and floral and fire going down the aisles, it's beautiful but dangerous. I get that. So when you insure like the couple, so do you market as event helper? Do you market just to like wedding planners and venues, other vendors, or do you market to the couples?
Yeah, usually just the venues typically, really, because I mean, the venues are the ones that hold the requirement. And then I would say secondarily, probably event planners, because they're going to be the ones that assist the couple in getting the insurance. But mostly we do the marketing towards venues just because, again, they're the ones that say you have to have it. And then they say, where do I get it? And event helper.
That's right. Awesome. And why do you feel like I know from experience there was sometimes, in my planning career, maybe I didn't get insurance for this particular, event, or I just relied on my own business insurance. So why do you feel like insurance is overlooked during the planning process?
I think typically what we see is what you just mentioned, right? You think as a venue owner, you can rely on your own business insurance to cover. But really, what we see is the claims that come through financially, a burden. And why would you want those on your own insurance? And really making the couple, responsible.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
pass that liability off whenever you get a chance as a event planner or a venue owner. It's like make sure everybody has insurance. That way it has less of a chance of falling back on you, really.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And I know we all love real stories. So, can you share a couple of scenarios where insurance made a huge difference?
one big one that happened in the last few months since I started, that has stuck with me, and I like to bring up to venue owners as a cautionary tale. And it was a bride who was getting ready in her room with her bridesmaids, and they have a photographer there, and she wanted to have a really wonderful moment where you hang the dress and get some photos. And she hung it on the fire sprinkler on the ceiling, and it actually broke the water sprinkler, and it flood she was on the top story, and it flooded both stories and caused $92,000 worth of water damage. And keep in mind, this is all before she's supposed to walk down the aisle.
Yeah, we were talking about this this claim and like just what a disaster it was, and then Natalie brought that up. And this is right before she walks down the aisle too.
Yeah.
Like it's bad enough on its own, like face value of what you do, let alone like the next 3 hours of your life that you have coming up, like your
Yeah.
biggest moments.
Yeah. It's not a great way to start your marriage or your honeymoon.
Yeah, not a good way at all. Soaked wedding dress.
Yeah, that one is a bit more obvious, but there's other things that come up where you just where's the foresight? You really don't know, right? One of the other examples we like to use is the bride had a bunch of blue confetti at the reception, which is great. That's fun. But then the DJ also had some sort of crazy bubble machine. And so when the confetti met this bubble machine, it created a blue like goo all over this Bapelit carpet, and the entire carpet had to be replaced. Where's the foresight? You really don't know those things are going to happen. So just the peace of mind knowing that, all the unforeseen things could be covered, what we're going for.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would definitely be unexpected.
But something I like to think about too, like also for a wedding couple's sake, like there's those obvious things that happen, like people were all in the room when these different situations happened and saw it go down. But like if you're the venue owner, like one that sticks with me is like a venue owner came into the bathroom the day after the event and there had been either a broken sink or a broken toilet, but that water had been flowing out of the pipes all night and just caused a ton of damage to the bathroom. So it's like there's also things that may have happened that nobody even saw happen, you know?
And don't see for a few days.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of different things that we've come across.
I have some really great stories of different claims, that's for sure. What do you think are the most common types of claims that you guys get?
But what we see typically is small, minimal property damage, floors getting scraped because vendors are coming in, moving, DJ equipment, moving tables, things like that. I mean, that would be the mostly what we see.
Yeah, I would definitely say they're like most of the claims are smaller, like maybe somebody sprained an ankle on the dance floor and went to urgent care and it was $5,000 or less than that, or maybe there was a broken window or a broken door that cost a few $1,000s. Those are definitely the more common ones. We've definitely seen our share of catastrophic events too, that we don't really need to go into the details on. But I mean, the smaller claims, it's great to have insurance. The big ones, it's really great to have insurance because some of those claims have gotten really high up there in dollar amounts.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, those are going to be the injury claims that really get to be very expensive.
I would have thought it would have been, I guess, like a trip and fall, because I know, I've seen the DJ cords across the rooms. Sparklers, at venues are always a big thing. The pyrotechnics now with, cold sparks. Sometimes they're not cold.
Yes. Well, one great thing about our policies too is we don't have any exclusion versus some of the competitors in our industry. We have no exclusion for cold or hot sparklers, which I know when we tell venues that they're like thrilled, because everybody wants to have it.
Yeah.
They always have to say no.
Yeah.
Not with us.
What do you feel are some of the hidden risks that like wedding planners and venues don't think about when they, either purchase the event insurance or decide not to purchase the event insurance?
Yeah, Miles and I were talking about that. And, there's so much that goes into the weddings, as you guys all know. There's the day before, the decoration, everything like that. All the venue planners trying to, get it all perfect. Then there's the day after cleanup, right? It's not just the wedding day. So there's just so many areas where things can go sideways. And, venue planners, event planners can, try to tack down the walkway and it doesn't, and maybe it gets lifted a bit and the grandma's trying to come and get seated and she trips and falls. There's just so many areas where things can go sideways during a multi-day event. Also, one of the examples we thought of was there was a groom's party getting ready and they had an ice chest full of beer that they were drinking, having a great time. They all leave to go to the wedding. After the reception, they go back into that room, and one of the groomsmen had forgot to plug the ice chest. So it had melted all over the antique floors, right? And that was like $15,000 in damage to an antique floor that had to be replaced. So there're just so many hidden things that, it's not that people are, trying to be disruptive or, but the surprises do happen.
You see a lot of water claims.
Water. Water's our main issue.
Water is avoid water at all costs, and you're gonna have to quit cutting.
The beer in the cooler didn't help either.
Yeah.
Awesome. And can you explain to us a little bit like what can happen financially or legally if there's no coverage in place? So if they, like that $15,000 floor, that probably would have had to come out of somebody's pocket.
Yeah, totally. So I mean, ultimately, every vendor that's operating on site needs to have their own insurance, and every event couple or event organizer needs to have their own insurance because, from the event couple's perspective, they're signing a rental contract with the venue saying that they're responsible for their guests and whatever may happen during the event. So they're responsible no matter what. If they have an event insurance policy, they can fall back on that event insurance policy to cover those costs for injury or property damage. But if they don't and they have that $92,000 from the dress hanging on the sprinkler, they're still responsible for it. So, I mean, depending on how litigious the state is or the venue wants to get about it, I mean, they could pursue them, in civil court. And if they lose that judgment, that could be they don't have the assets, maybe it's their home or whatever. So going in there and buying a single day policy for $100 to have $1 million in protection, it's just a no-brainer. Really, if you know about it, it's a no-brainer, but it's just a matter of whether or not you know about it.
Right. Awesome. And then do you feel like there's a big misconception out there of people saying, "Oh, it'll never happen to me"?
For sure. I mean, I used to think that, I'm a venue owner as well in my other life outside of work here. And, it's not just about how responsible I am as a person, right? These people are inviting guests, friends, family. So it's really not just about that particular couple and how responsible and safe they might be. I mean, there's just so much going on that you could never, control all your guests, all those weird crazy uncles and when, especially if you're adding alcohol and dancing and vendors to the mix.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what do you feel like wedding planners should look for like in a policy when recommending insurance to their clients?
Yeah, I would really recommend that they work and communicate with the venue owners because the venue owners are going to set the parameters of their actual coverage requirements, which is nice. So they can have an open dialogue. The great thing if they use us for that, we can update those at any time. So if there's an event that they think might require a higher limits, things like that, a lower deductible, those things are all, we can update those at any time.
And one thing I would throw in there too, so the venue is going to require that the couple has general liability insurance, which is that injury property damage insurance. As an event planner, something that you can really encourage that's a huge benefit to the couple is a secondary add-on coverage, which is called cancellation insurance. Obviously, nobody wants to think about canceling their wedding. You buy this coverage, say 8 or 9 months in advance, and you get closer to the wedding date and they're forced to cancel the event. Maybe a hurricane or a weather event comes through, or maybe the groom is trimming a tree in the yard and falls off a ladder the week before and they have to cancel or postpone the wedding. Well, if it's a week before the event, the caterer is not going to refund the deposit. The DJ is not going to refund the money. The venue is not going to refund the money because they can't rebook in that time frame. So they're going to be out all those expenses. So the cancellation coverage there is an optional add-on to where if they're forced to cancel the event, they'll get reimbursed for those non-refundable expenses if something out of their control makes them postpone the wedding or cancel altogether. It wouldn't be something like cold feet because that would be technically within their control. But no, just those unforeseen circumstances that force the cancellation, they can at least get their money back, which obviously if weddings, it could be anywhere from, 7 to 10 grand to $100,000, or beyond.
Yeah, that's good. I like the cancellation part for a lot of reasons like that. I've seen it, through COVID was a huge, issue for, our entire industry. So having that insurance definitely would have helped a lot of folks. So, how has the event helper simplified like the process of buying insurance for venues and planners?
So Miles and I work with venues all over the country, and the great thing about what we can do is we create a custom link for every venue, and they share that with their renters, and it autofills with all of their venues insurance requirements and their additionally insured information. And it also emails the venue a copy of that COI automatically, so they don't have to go and hunt it down. So that entire process takes about 3 minutes. So it is super simple. The venues can include that link or QR code in their rental contracts, put it on their website. The entire point is that we want to keep it simple and streamlined for everyone involved.
Yeah, they had our online application. I think about 90% of our business is done through the website. But if somebody has questions or wants to go in more detail, we have 10 dedicated customer service reps that are here 5 days a week. We'll pick up the phone and walk through the application over the phone or answer any specific coverage questions they may have. So, yeah, we really pride ourselves on our ease of use and then customer service if somebody actually wants to call in and talk to somebody.
Awesome. And is there a certain date where they need to purchase insurance by? For instance, can they purchase, a week out or, what is there a timeline?
We were laughing earlier. Our business model supports either personality type A, where you can purchase it a year in advance and mark it off your to-do list early on, or the procrastinators, you can actually purchase it the day of. Policy would be effective as soon as the credit card is charged.
Yeah, we've had it where a couple shows up on site for the wedding day and they're like, hey, I never got your insurance. And I'm like, it's like, pull out your phone, hit the website, and it'll take you 3 minutes. You're done. Policy's good. Have a nice day.
That's good because I'm sure that there are quite a few out there that wait to the last second.
Always.
I think the majority of our policies are sold within I think it's like within 3 days of the event date, which is absolutely insane to me because I know the venues always state in their contract. It's like insurance is due, whatever, 30, 45 days or whatever. I'm like, how do we still sell so many policies like the day before the event? But whatever, it happens.
Oh yeah, they can't turn it down.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Dates booked. It's, just get it done.
In motion already.
We have a captive consumer at that point.
That's right. That's right. And do you feel like planners should require their couples to purchase event insurance?
I mean, obviously, the planner, provide the best service to their couples as possible. Should highly encourage them. I don't know about requiring necessarily, but yeah, encouraging them and just being like, hey, you're responsible for that space. You're bringing 300 people in there. What happens if they scrape up the floors or break the toilet in the bathroom or whatever it is? So they're doing a huge service to their couple by at least informing them of this. And then that also speaks to the cancellation coverage again, too. I think that's a really important one for the planner to make the couples aware of because it's out there. And if they do cancel their wedding and then they start looking around for what they can do and they find out about cancellation insurance afterwards, they're going to be like, hey, why didn't you tell me about this beforehand? Like I would have bought that, So yeah, I think it's a big service, but ultimately the venue can be the one that requires it. That's why we exist, is because venues do require it. Not every venue. But yeah, I think the planner does a huge service to the client by at least informing them of, the product we offer.
That makes sense. Awesome. And where can listeners learn more about Event Helper and get coverage quickly, especially if they have weddings here in May?
Yeah, we have a super informative website. And again, it's super simple. If they just want day of coverage, they can go online. Again, it takes like 3 minutes to fill out the application. But if you're a venue owner, you can reach out to our partner program and Miles and I will get back to you and get you, your own custom link that you can share with your renters and vendors. Yep. Or you could give us a call and we're happy to be a resource here.
Yeah. And even if people just want to call and figure out what event insurance is, and we're not too worried about driving them to us. I mean, obviously we want to drive them to us, but we're also happy just to have a conversation and answer any questions that folks may have.
Awesome. I think that's great. And what final advice would you give to a wedding professional about really protecting their business and their events?
Well, I mean, as a wedding planner, you want to have your own insurance. You just want to make sure everybody's insured. I mean, we're insurance people, so of course we're going to say that. The event planner needs their own insurance because, the couple might say that they didn't perform the services as were expected or something like that, and maybe try to pursue it for like a contractual claim. Or maybe they have employees that are operating in the event, and they need to have workers' comp, just making sure that you have broad coverage for yourself as an event planner. And if you don't, and you just want to at least have liability coverage, you can buy that from us for the day. If you're the one that's laying down that runner to go down the aisle and somebody trips on it, you can have liability coverage for that day in case grandma trips on it and breaks her arm and all that. All those terrible things that it feels kind of dirty to talk about a little bit, but it's like it's the reality of what we do, you know.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I love it. So definitely just to close because we're running out of little time here, but visit the Event Helper team and it's eventhelper.com, correct? All right. To learn more about event insurance, share this episode with a planner or couple who needs to hear it. Encourage clients to include insurance early in the planning process. Especially, I feel that cancellation insurance is super important. And then, of course, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And guys, thank you so much for joining me here on ABC Weddings Unveiled. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe and share it with a fellow wedding professional. And we will look forward to seeing you soon.